Listeners and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
Jumbo. Jumbo means what's happening. How y'all doing? This is Nasheed Ali, inside storyteller for peace, coming to you every Sunday on Groundings. When you hear that juice harp, that's in honor of my grandfather and ancestor, Pop Grow Something. And I've taken on his name and I've taken on his harp because he used to sit on his porch and used to blow. And when we heard that harp sound, we knew it was a story coming. And we would gather after school. He had the first after-school program. He didn't get any funding for it, but after school it was a safe place in front of Pop Grow Something. And Pop Grow Something would tell a story like I tell a story every Sunday in the beginning and closing of Groundings. So Pop Grow Something, what he would do, because we got fall out here, and he would still tend to his front property, and he would tend to that tree he planted in March. That's the tree of knowledge where we all come, but it's a little chilly out here now. But we would still come, and we would gather around. Pop Grow Something. And he said, Pop Grow Something, couldn't you tell us a story? He said, yeah, I got a story for you. So he said, first of all, I want you to say, save the children. And we would say, save the children. And the adults would say, save the children. And we would say it loud, save the children, save the children. He said, that's good. Because if you save the children, we save ourselves. He said, next I want you to see the world through the eyes of our black children. And he said, children, I want you to remember the world that you see and keep that world in your heart. He said, here's a story about a little boy from the village of Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, around 21st and Westmoreland. And his name was Barkley, little Barkley. And Barkley lived at 21st and Westmoreland, and every day Barkley would come out and sit on his step, because that's what we did. We sat on the step, and Barkley would watch the people go by. All kinds of black people would go by, and he would see the goodness in everybody that came by. What we call jitterbugs. The jitterbugs would come by, and they would all know little Barkley. They say, what's up, Bark? And they give him 5. He saw the people coming out the bars, and he knew them. They said, what's up, Bark? And he said, fine, Miss Smith. I'm doing fine, Mr. Jones. They said, don't you get in no trouble now. And he had this keen eye, and he would observe how we dressed on the weekday, how we dressed when we went to work. Some of us had our work clothes on, but we were still styling. On the weekend, he would observe the way we dressed when we partied. And that's the time that he liked the most, because everybody got into their finest, whatever it was. And they had their own style and way about them. And as he grew, he looked at TV, and the images that came across the TV screen and the images that came across the printed media, the pictures weren't the same that he saw in his own community of 21st and Westmoreland. And he said, I don't like these images that I'm getting, as he grew. But he had an eye, and he always drew. He always had a pencil and a pad in his hand, and he started drawing. He said, I don't like those images, so I'm going to draw my own. And that's what he did. He drew his own images of black folks. And these were good images, but he was just learning. So he went to Simon Gratz High School. And Simon Gratz High School at that time brought out the best of him, the best of his art, the best of his eye. He had a teacher who mentored him, Miss Bridges. And Miss Bridges told Barkley, look, Barkley, you got talent inside you. You got an eye for life. He said, I'm going to bring this out of you, and I want you to go to college. I want you to do your best. And every day he would go to art class, and we had periods, for 2 periods. And Miss Bridges would put on that music like Sketches of Spain by Miles Davis. And Barkley began to appreciate the finer things of black culture. He began to appreciate our music, and he started to draw with the music in the background. Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, and he would be drawing what was inside of him. And then at that time, when Barkley graduated, the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts and other schools were out in our communities searching for the talented, as W.E.B. Du Bois would say, the talented 10th. Because they had to bring in black students to their enrollment because, of course, it was all white. They had to diversify. They were diversifying back then. So they got about 10 talented black artists. They got Barkley Hendricks and Darrell and Lil Tom, and they all could draw. They all had that eye. They got even Richard Watson. Richard Watson, many of us know him in the village. Richard Watson was in that class too. And he went to the Pennsylvania. It ain't no joke to get into the Pennsylvania Fine Arts. And when he went there, he learned the technique. And he saw that, you know, the other folks wasn't painting our people like they should be painted. And he kept on studying, and he said, that's what I'm going to do. He said, I'm going to paint our village. I'm going to paint our community the way it should be painted. And you'll see what I see, and you'll see yourself larger than life. And that's what he did. He painted the picture larger than life. And that's what we need in our village. That's what we need. We need the artists, we need the scholars, we need the warriors. So you remember that name, little Barkley Hendricks. Look him up. He just passed away recently. But he was an artist that drew us in the way we should be drawn, larger than life. Let us always remember to view the world through our black children's lives. Peace.
Pop, bro, something as always, man. The attunement of your stories with where I was hoping we could go with the segment today is just it always astounds me, man. Well, actually, it doesn't anymore. I come to expect the alignment and the attunement and appreciate it, sir. So before we dive in a little bit, can you spell Barkley Hendricks for people so as they go to research him or Google him or look him up, they're spelling his name correctly?
Barkley. That's Barkley L. Hendricks. That's Henricks. And you'll see how he did our people justice.
I appreciate that, sir. I'm asking you to hold on for a little while because you talked about some things that literally in my conversations over the last 2 days and even in our conversation at the Spirit of the Drum today kind of hit right in line, and that is the need for us to really begin to see ourselves as bigger than life and to begin to walk into that power and that purpose. So it kind of spawned the question that I have for our audience today. And I'm going to ask Ngakia to make sure she chats me the phone numbers because I always forget our call-in numbers. I don't know why. I think it's 215-634-8065. And again, that's 215-634-8065. The toll-free one, I know I forgot, so hopefully I'll get a chat message or something, a text message soon to let me know. But I'm going to ask you in a corny way, but not corny, because the way I'm thinking about it is, what is your superpower? But that's not the question. It's really I want people to focus more. I'm intrigued by this thing on Facebook that they have going around called the 5-Look Challenge. And so people have been posting 5 different pictures of themselves from across their timelines that has different kind of expressions or different looks coming from them. And that, my sister posted one for me, and it made me think about just different aspects of my life and, who I was in each of those pictures. And ironically, one of the things I began to ask myself is kind of like, what's the strength or what's the ability that I have that I think is reflected in each of these pictures? And part of it for me was what I call foresight or keen insight. Such that really, the ability to kind of read the tea leaves and predict what's going to happen in the future based on understanding what has happened before and what's going on right now. And so I call it keen insight or keen foresight, but I focus it on the idea of the eye of Heru and what that means for us and what that has meant as part of our superhero story. So I guess my answer would be, and was, keen insight, keen foresight. So to hear you talk about Barkley Hendricks and then use that idea of his keen sight or his keen eye, I think you called it. It's kind of like, wow, it's kind of like a very strong Ashe moment for me. So when we come back from commercial break, I want to open up the phone lines and ask people that question. What is your gift? What is your, if you want to call it a superhero power or superpower, what is your gift though? What is your greatest competency? And how do you offer that on behalf of our people and our purpose? So I want to hear from you, Pop Out Grow Something. I want to hear yours.
Okay.
And then joined after commercial break by my brother Wasset. I hope he can weigh in as well. And then also give us an update from today's Spirit of the Drum. But mine, I believe, is keen foresight. I believe that I'm worth being listened to because I put enough study into the past and study into the now to be able with some accuracy to predict, both by way of positivity, but also by way of warning, what we need to be looking out for in the future. What's your competency? What's your skill? What's your power? I don't want to make it corny and call it a superhero power, because I want it to be clear that you bring it to bear and that you can contribute it to our people's growth and development. So hit me up at 215-634-8065 and share your competence, your capability, and your power right here. Groundings, Evolutions and Elevations with Brother Shamari, WURD Radio 96.1 FM 900 AM, live streaming WURDradio.com, also Facebook Live at WURD Radio. Social media platforms, just simply type onWURD. We'll talk with you after these messages.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. More than 2/3 of all poll workers are 61 years of age or older. That's created a serious poll worker shortage, as older poll workers are understandably nervous about health risks during pandemic. If you or someone you know under the age of 40 is looking for part-time work and is interested in contributing to their community, sign up to be a poll worker today. In Pennsylvania, go to votespa.com, click on Be a Poll Worker, and complete an application. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, facebook.com/forward, and hashtag Word on Politics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com.
This year has been unprecedented. From the COVID pandemic to nationwide protests addressing systemic racism and calling for criminal justice reform. For weeks, we've been reminding you to make your voice heard in this election, and now is the time to act. Voting is how we empower our communities, and this election day, we can make things happen for us instead of letting things happen to us. So use your power and make your plan to vote today. If you signed up to vote by mail, don't wait. Complete your ballot, put it in the small envelope and seal it. Then put it in a larger envelope and seal that too. Sign and date it. Then drop off your ballot at your county election office today. If you have not signed up to vote by mail, go to the polls on Tuesday, November 3rd. Make sure to confirm your polling location and don't forget to wear a mask. Polling places are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. To find your county election office or polling location, visit votespa.com. Take your power to the polls and vote. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote, to stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Voters, it's time to know your rights. Know that history is on your side. History has given you the right to vote. See yourself during the most important election of our time. See yourself casting your ballot and not letting anyone or anything stand in your way. See yourself as the voter with the most powerful voice. The voice of the young first-time voter. The voice of the disabled voter. The voice of the experienced senior citizen. The voice that is black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American. The voter that is straight, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, non-binary. You are the American voter who cannot be suppressed. It's time that you know that casting your ballot isn't difficult at all. You just have to know your rights. Voters, you have the right to a free and fair election. That's why your voice will not be suppressed. Your vote is your voice. Call or text 866-OUR-VOTE for more information on your voting rights.
Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamari on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. Pop-Pop Grossom shared with us a story about Barkley Hendricks and his keen eye, and it reminded me of a conversation I was going to have about where our power is. What is your competence, your core competence, your core capability, your core source of power? And for me, it is, people have always talked about my insight, hindsight, and therefore foresight. Whether it's true or not, it's not self-proclaimed. I will say that other people have affirmed that, and I always, am struck by the story of Asar, Aset, and Heru, and the eye of Heru, and what it means. It's really the eye of Heru is about all of the senses being highly attuned, and how you use that to be situationally aware, among other things. So I thank Pop Grow Something for the story of Barkley Hendricks, and I'm going to go back to Pop Grow Something, Brother Nasheed, and talk about, for you, sir, what you see as your core competence, your core capability, your core source of strength, if you will, your core power. Let's call it a superpower. For sake of the rest of our conversation. What's your superpower, sir?
Well, right now my superpower is helping our people with a touch of respect.
Just a touch.
Yeah, with a touch of respect, So helping is providing resources and connections so that they can stand on their own feet and solve their issues and their problems. I mean, that's what I do every day. And I didn't really know that this was my superpower until this summer when I became, down. I was sick. And all the people that I helped, they all stopped past and gave me baskets of food and fruit.
Wow.
And even money. And they all asked when I was returning. And they all told me that they liked the fact that I would help them.
Yes, sir.
And share resources. So I would say, people, just dealing with people. I love people. And that's a power, too. So you got sharing, you got love, you have people, you have resource and making those connections and wanting to give it up.
Right.
So some of us are in those positions of helping people, but they just do it for a paycheck, or they just do it and don't know how to do it and make a connection. And then some people have the resources, want to keep it all to themselves.
Yes, sir.
But we got to give it up, and that's a power, too.
I appreciate it, Bob, and I look forward to hearing from Pop Know Something at the end of the show. Also with some Juice Harp, man. I'm loving the Juice Harp, so I want to open with the Juice Harp, and I want to close with the Juice Harp. If you got the wind in you, I know wind is a pressure.
Yeah, I got it, and I got the message, too, so I got it.
Hey, thank you, my brother.
All right, now, peace.
Shout out to Baba Youssef Nuruddin, all the way from Brooklyn, New York, who says, Brother Shamari, the gift you're talking about is vision. And the scriptures say that without vision, the people perish. Vision is threefold: hindsight, foresight, and insight. So thank you, Baba Youssef. So I'm going to call myself Vision. I'm going to call my gift Vision. I want to hear your gift. Hit us up at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. I'm doing the check-in. I don't know, Ngaki, did Brother Wasette call in yet for our Spirit of the Drum update? If so, please patch him through. And I'm letting y'all know, y'all, I'm a little done with the Zoom setup, so hopefully I'll be back live and in person in the studio starting this upcoming Friday, because I need the energy of kind of being in that environment and being amongst the people. So, hopefully no offense to Zoom or whatever this is, Facebook Live and all that, but I definitely want to get back in kind of in the seat and in the studio. So I'm declared that I'm going to do that starting Friday and get back in the saddle of things. So, Brother Wasette, are you there?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Hi, brother. I'm great. How are you?
I'm actually pretty great, man. I'll talk more about it. I want to know what your time is like, man, because I'm going to vibe with you a little bit, number one, before we get into the Spirit of the Drum. I'm going to check in with you about the question that we're asking about I guess right now, your power, your superpower, if you will, your core competency, if you want to talk about it from a business perspective, or what's your chief capability and how are you offering it in the village?
So I would say, I've been in education for over 25 years, so I would say, the superpower is kind of like multifold. So I would say relationship builder, in terms of, because dealing with our youth, it's important to build relationships with them in order to engage with them, in order to reach them. So I've had to, sometimes I've learned the hard way, but I've had to, be very creative in trying to engage children. So building relationships was one thing. And then I would also say, counselor. I've been put in, a lot of different positions where I've been asked for advice. And one of the things that I always, when I pray over it, because I ask the Creator and the divine universe to speak through me. I don't want myself to speak. I want the Creator and the ancestors to give me the answer, and for whatever reason, the advice that I give is often very helpful, and I think that's kind of needed in this time. And so sometimes what ends up happening is that, even though you don't look to do those things, you're called on. And then the last thing I will also say is I'm helper. I'm always trying to help those that are less fortunate than myself, whether it's the homeless or, just individuals who, may be in need. I just think that we have lost the art of giving to those that are less fortunate than ourselves.
So I'm encouraging people, man, call in, share your superpower. We need to know just an inventory of what we got in the village, man. I'm hoping you got some time today, Brother Wysett, because I want to build with you, but also have our listening audience kind of call in on this conversation, man. But I'm really today, we talk about how every aspect of the spirit of the drum just elevates and does its own thing, man. But I'm really today was probably for me personally the one. Just what happened today and what's going to happen as a result of the conversation today. And it's important for me because I tell you, man, as much as I talk about vision being my superpower, being cold and wet is my kryptonite. I cannot stand when it's raining and cold at the same time.
Yeah, that's
it just does something. I really almost didn't make it today. I was out earlier, and I was going to be like, you know what? I've been a soldier. I don't think I've missed one. I've been late a couple of times, but I don't think I've missed one all season that we've done this. And I was just going to keep it moving to go right home and prepare for the show, man. And something said, no, brother, to go by, even if you don't bring, because I had my drum in the car. I really was going to come in and say what's up and leave, man. But today's build, number one, I didn't expect anybody to be there. I'm going to be quite honest. I expected to walk in and see you and your wife and your little daughter and Mama Atia Ola. Because I was of the mindset that, man, people ain't coming out. And, man, and when I got there, it was a little light. I ain't going to lie. The drummers were there. So I said, okay, we're going to probably do a drum shed. It's not going to be a lot more than the drummers and that's getting down. So boom. And then the village came, man, like the village always comes. And then it just does what it does in its own way, man. That is, for me, I don't even, I got more to say about it, man. But just give us an update of the spirit of the drum today. And then when we come back, man, I want to build a little bit more with you deeper about the actual conversation that we had today. Because I really think it's a conversation that we need to have as a larger community. And I'm going to just do some conversing about that right here on the show.
Oh, absolutely. So I knew, and I think I had mentioned, when I saw the rain, I know how our people can be when it rains. They would rather stay home than go out. And I told my wife, I said, today is going to be a very telling situation regarding the spirit of the drum gathering. I said, because if people come out, I said it's going to speak volumes about the work that we're doing. Because sometimes it's easy, to do things when the way is easy. It's what the worth of something is when it's challenging, and you kind of have to forge ahead to kind of make it and get there.
Right.
And so, I mean, being honest, now a few people had called me to confirm that everything was still a go. But I, as optimistic as I would like to be, I have to be honest. I was a little nervous when I first got there because I get there first. I set everything up. So we were just kind of, sitting there. Then, one person came, and then after a while, brother, it was just business as usual.
Yes.
And the only thing I can say, it's a beautiful thing.
Actually, man, today it really wasn't, though. It's a new thing, and I love the new thing. It was business as usual in the sense that the spirit of the drum does what it does, and the spirit of the dance and other things kind of come with the spirit of the drum, and that was there without a doubt. But the village conversation, and I'm telling you, man, when elder mamas when Queen Mamas and the elder mamas call forward something, I believe that they have spoken a duty and an obligation into the village, man. And I want to talk about what came forth through Mama Kay and what came forth through Mama Atiola, and you know, what we need to do about that, brother. I think that for me, you know, that brings a lot of the purpose of what this was birthed to get to. I think that the spirit of the drum was birthed to get to a purpose, and I think the purpose of the birth of the spirit of the drum was spoken into the room today, and I'm just really excited and looking forward to that journey. But before we get into that conversation, brother, just remind people what the spirit of the drum is and when it is, so that if they want to tune into what I think is going to be one of the most powerful movements going on in our space and place in this city, then people who want power and want to be a part of Africans moving powerfully, I think they need to tune into the spirit of the drum by any means necessary. So how do they do that?
Yeah. So let me just, for those who may be listening and then maybe possibly hearing about the spirit of the drum for the first time, I will say that it was an entity that was kind of called forward by the ancestors, that it was a work or a gathering that needed to be done, that given this onslaught of COVID, you know, where our people were being forced to be in place, not socialize, not gather, not interact, and then with this mass pandemic and the fear, that there was something that needed to be created for our people to kind of re-galvanize themselves. Because if you understand the power of African people, you're talking about superpower. We get our superpower from each other. Right. Not Superman, not Batman, not these made-up fictional characters, but we get our real-life power from each other. And so that's how the spirit of the drum was born, to basically go into these spaces where oftentimes there is negative energy and low vibrations, and kind of bring a positive energy. And so what we did was, you know, for these last 4 months, we've just been all around the city in different parks, you know, and you've been there and you've seen that we've gone into desolate areas where people are drinking and smoking and things of that nature, and we go there and we bring our drum, we bring our energy, and it literally transforms that space. You know, people, they still do what they do, you know, but they do it a little bit differently because they invite us to do it with them. Yeah, you know, they acknowledge that the energy is a little bit different, you know, and then, like you said, some people, they participate, you know, and like I said, and so I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think one of the things that I like about the spirit of the drum is that I think that we've forgotten that we are the savior for our people, but you can only save your people and help them if you're with them. And I think that this whole ideal of some of the institutions that we have, and we're inside the institution, but the people that we need to save are outside on the corner on the street. Right. So the Nation of Islam, they got it right. They created the model that if you want to save your people, you got to go where they're at and you got to go get them.
So what I want to do right there, my brother, we're coming up on a commercial break. I'm going to ask if you can hold. So number one, I'm asking your permission to know whether you can kind of hold on for a while.
I'll be here.
I want to get to we got callers calling in. I want people to share their power, share their core competency. So again, hit us up at 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. And I'm gonna jump back to the phone calls when we come back from break. But I want to also build with you just based on the conversation and the interactions today, so that we can let our listening audience know where we go from here. You might not be able to be a part of the drumming thing, but there's some other work that's emanating from this effort that we're going to make a call that you can be a part of if you choose to do so. So stay tuned. Welcome and greetings. This is Groundings, Evolution, and the Elevations with Brother Shamari. So hit us up. Share your superpowers. Reverend Joe, Marie, spread love. Coming to you right after these messages.
Philadelphia, old, young, and all in between. We've got to get out and rock the vote in this election. We have the power to make a difference. But we cannot make that difference without your vote. Vote by mail or vote in person. Our vote is the voice that will save our lives. This message is sponsored by the Leon H. Sullivan Charitable Trust.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. Are you a Philly area voter who received your mail-in ballot but suddenly decided you want to vote in person? If you returned your complete ballot to the county election office by October 27th, you may not vote in person on Election Day. However, if you don't return your complete mail-in ballot to your county before October 27th, you can go to a polling place, surrender your unvoted ballot and voter's declaration envelope, sign a statement, and vote on the machines. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, facebook.com/4word, and #WordOnPolitics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com.
Remember when Trump defended neo-Nazis?
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Or downplayed the coronavirus?
It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle.
It's time to fire politicians who failed us and elect leaders who will fight systemic racism, have a plan to beat the coronavirus, and will address bias in our healthcare system. This election, remember whose side Trump is on, not yours. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by the NAACP.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
With Internet Essentials from Comcast for only $9.95 a month, you get more. High-speed home internet service, included. Peace of mind with XFi Advanced Security, included. Access to millions of XFi Wi-Fi hotspots, that's included too. Internet Essentials from Comcast brings you affordable, high-speed internet to your home for only $9.95 a month. When you're connected, you're ready for anything. Visit InternetEssentials.com for more information. Taxes extra. Restrictions apply.
Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com. Oh, yo, update, by the way, y'all, just so y'all know. Excited about what's going on with Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations. We're going to have Mama Musu in a very strong recurring segment, so look out for Mama Musu Kamara joining us next week. We're going to start and unveil a new segment with two young brothers, Oba and Kasil. I'm calling it right now OG and Young G. And you know, y'all hear that, OG, but G for us is Guardian. We need the original Guardians and the young Guardians, the old Guardians and the young Guardians. And it's a call back to the guardianship role, the protector role of manhood. So we're going to have an OG, Young G segment with brothers Oba and brother Kasil. We, of course, got my brother Wasset, Spirit of the Drum. He's with us now. We're going to have a segment teaching some African history and African culture that I'm coordinating with my Baba Ron from ASCAP. Of course, we got Pop Grow Something, Pop Know Something, leading us off and closing us out. And, of course, we got Sister Ngakia Kamada behind the boards doing her thing on the production side. So, you know, it's taking shape, man. Groundings is slowly but surely becoming what I wanted it to be, and I appreciate just heeding the call of the ancestors. A lot of this stuff, these people appeared. I didn't go and say, come here. When I was trying to do that, it just never really worked right. And something said, just be patient. it will evolve, it will appear, it will come to you, and it's happened, man. So, you know, this 2 hours, y'all, is going to be action-packed. We're going to have some diasporic conversations, some conversations, interactions across the continent of Africa, across the diaspora, with our young brothers and sisters from a hip-hop perspective, from our elders. Our elders are represented with Pop Pop Grow Something, Pop Pop Knows Something. Y'all know we got Reverend Joe every Friday giving us the elders permission to speak. We have the sisters with us. We have history coming through. Man, we got everything right here on Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations. So I'm excited. In that vein, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go. Reverend Joe, you still with us? Reverend Joe?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you barely. Sound like you're in the shower or something, sir. But, you know, I think happy birthday is number one. Before you even get started, I think we owe you a happy birthday, sir.
Well, thank you so much. I called to thank you for doing that. And your fight for truth and justice, I want to say good evening to Brother Wasset. And I want you to remember this. Without the people, the vision will perish. You say without the vision, the people will perish. But without the people, the vision will perish.
That's right, sir. And that's why we out there amongst the people. What's your superpower, Reverend Joe, besides making it to 80, what, 83, 82?
82, and my strong power is say it with music. That's I've been doing this since I was 5 years old, trying to sing. Say it with music.
All right.
The slavery used to be slayed with flowers. I say say it with music.
I say, thank you, sir.
Thank you for being in, and good night. Keep the good work up for your truth and fight for.
I would sing happy birthday to you, but I wasn't blessed with the power of music, so I'm not going to do that to you. But happy birthday, Reverend. I appreciate you. And tell Mama Laverne I said hi.
I will do. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I say, Maurice, line 2, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I don't know, man. Everybody sounds real far away to me, so I'm hoping I can get some volume. But keep talking, sir.
Somebody down there is messing with the machine, so they got to. I've been listening to these cases too long, and I can tell the difference. But look, let me break this down. I consider my superpower ever since I lost my vision as being a visionary. And when I say visionary, I mean by I see things the way they are and not the way people want it to be.
Okay.
You know, like I can tell you right now, 2 quick things. The city is setting up for Cheryl Parker to be the next mayor. I know that the statement from the people that had that terrible incident on Locust Street didn't write that statement. You know, little things like that I can see. I know that out there in Port Richmond had nothing to do with 61st Street. That was a Republican-sanctioned move up there. I see these things, and they wind up coming true. I mean, I haven't been wrong yet.
Okay. Well, I ain't like you, so sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm about 93.7%. My vision is good.
That's why I listen to you.
Well, I appreciate you, sir.
So you have these visions, and I'm just saying that, you know, we got to stop, as far as black people, stop falling for the okie doke. You know what reparations is to me? Reparations is not money. Reparations is when we don't need Republican or Democrat to worry about. They got to worry about us.
I appreciate that. Reparations for me is sovereignty, sir. Anything less is a compromise. So I appreciate you. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I'm listening to you. That's all I got to do.
Appreciate you, Brother Maurice, as always. Let's go to Spread Love. Greetings.
God bless, Brother Shamari.
I'm really struggling with this volume, but I'm going to trust that the audience can hear you, so keep talking.
God bless. Can you hear me better now?
Not really, but keep going, brother.
All right, well, give you out of glory. As always, thank you for what you're doing with the works of the show. And Brother Wasset with the drum circle, that sounds banging. And,
it is banging.
Literally, pun intended. And give thanks for everyone. And God bless the victims, the hearts are with them. And everyone working to make it better. Just one thing real quick. On Voting Day, November 3rd, it's the anniversary of the Greensboro Massacre. You remember that? 1979?
I don't know if I can say I remember it, but I know of it.
If you could speak about that for the people, that'd be bagging to put them on. And I don't know if I got any superpowers. For me, you know, Jah Christ is the Imperial Majesty Emperor King Haile Selassie I, Rastafari, Empress Manette. He's a superpower. As a matter of fact, the anniversary of his coronation is tomorrow, 2:30, November 2nd. 72 nations sent delegates to bow before this man, this black man, and his black queen, as king of planet Earth. And if you ever read Psalm 72 and think about that it was 72 nations, you might see something I saw, and that'd be bang. And God bless me to see. But as far as personality defects, because I don't know if I can call it a superpower, I'll say that I'm oblivious. And, you know what I mean? Especially all the BS and all the vain, vaunted images people have of themselves. People be so impressed with celebrities, and people be so impressed with their own minds. That don't faze me. I guess what would you call it? Unimpressible?
Okay, I like that, man. I like those terms. I mean, you got to be unwavered by, you know, eyes and flash and personality. You're an unwavering brother. That's what it sounds like I'm hearing you say.
I'll put it to you this way, real quick. Last time I checked, food grow better in dirt than it do in diamonds. That's for all y'all pretty people.
All right, my brother. I appreciate it. I'm really struggling, so I'm hoping that it's coming across the airways a lot better than it's coming across my headset right now. But we're going to keep it moving. I want you to share your superpower, so hit us up at 215-634. If you don't want to call it superpower, call it your core competence. We all got to be masters at something, right? What is it? What's your skill? What you do? And how do you gift it to the village? So again, remember, this is two parts. It's not just identifying what it is. And I think that any person who's a grown adult who can't state what they are, what they have mastery in, what they have a strong skill or a core competence in, or what I'm calling today a superpower, and then how they're offering that gift, that power into the village for our cause. You know, this ain't the time to be falsely humble. State it, because we need to know it. We need to have an inventory of who we can rely on and what we can rely on them to do as we're pushing towards our sovereignty and our power. So hit us up at 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. Coming up on the commercial break. When we come back, let's build a little bit more with my brother Wasset, and then also let's hear from you as we build the power of our village. If it takes a village to raise, and it does, a child, an elder, to protect our elders, to raise a family, to protect our warrior, it takes a village to do everything that we need to do. Then what must we do to raise the village, and what powers are we bringing forward to that call? Talk with you after these messages.
Buying something from a dealer just sounds a bit, well, put it like this. My cousin Ray Ray got arrested for buying something from a dealer. So why would you want to buy your car from a dealer? Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com. Or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
Keeping you informed. As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where you can get no-cost, barrier-free COVID-19 testing this week. Thursday, November 5th, from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at 1312 Willow Street, Norristown, Pennsylvania. And Saturday, November 7th, from 12 noon till 3 p.m. at Victory Christian Fellowship, 5220 Whitby Avenue in Philadelphia. Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
We've all heard people say this election is the most important of our lifetime. Let's remember why that's true. Under the Trump presidency, racism has found a tragic new normal, emboldened by a president who has demonstrated disrespect and disregard for our communities while embracing and protecting white supremacists. While the coronavirus was taking our family members from us, Donald Trump deceived the nation by withholding information that could have saved lives. He protected himself instead of protecting us. Our economy is in shambles, our children's education jeopardized, and the Trump administration is in court right now trying to take away our health care. This has to end. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the leaders we need to chart a path toward opportunity, justice, and healing. From affordable health care to quality education and jobs, there's only one choice to move us forward. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by BlackPack and Priorities USA Action. BlackPack.com and PrioritieSUSAAction.org, which are responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hello, my name is Hassan Bennett. I did 13 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. Over-policing in our community has led to over 100 casualties like mine. It's time we, the people, take control of our future. And we do this on November 3rd by voting to make communities safer and the system fairer.
Paid for by Black Vote PA, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.theelectionisnow.com.
New Voices for Reproductive Justice is registering Black women and their families in Philly to vote. The general election is on November 3rd. You can register to vote online at rock.vote/New Voices. That's rock.vote/New Voices. The deadline to register is October 19th. If you need assistance registering to vote, visit newvoicesrj.org.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time, Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight. This program is pre-recorded. No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURDradio.com.
I'm Philadelphia City Councilwoman Sherelle Parker, and this message is for the sisters. We wear a lot of hats. We're mothers, aunties and daughters, teachers, community leaders, and CEOs. We rise to the occasion every day. We're good at it too. And now, more than ever, we need to do what we do. Show up and show out this election. To organize, to make those calls and get out the vote. To stand up for our families and our communities, just like you do every single day, every single time. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are counting on us, and we know that we can count on them.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station. Keeping you informed about Tuesday's election. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, and watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio, independent Black media. Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamari. And it's not just Brother Shamari, y'all. We got Brother Wasset talking about the spirit of the drum. We got Brother Nasheed Ali giving us Pop Pop Grow Something and Pop Pop Know Something. We're going to have Brother Oba and Brother Casil giving us the OG, Young G conversation. G standing not for gangster, but for guardian. We got Mama Musuka Mala joining us as we take a diasporic and a Pan-African look in the conversation. We're going to have some history sessions sponsored in conjunction with my brother, my Baba Ron and Ashgak. Man, where else can you get this? Probably nowhere. Not all in one powerful 2-hour segment like Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamari. So if you want to share your superpower, your core competence, your mastery, and your skill, yeah, be proud about it. Speak about it. Talk into it, because we got to know what gifts we have and how you offer those gifts into the village. So hit us up at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065, toll free, 866-361-0900. And before I jump back to the phone lines and go vibe with Brother Joe and Brother Patrick and whoever else might call in, I'm going to go back to Brother Wasset, if you're still with us. Greetings. Brother Wasset.
No, I'm not. Can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
Oh, okay. I have to say a happy birthday to my good friend, Reverend Joe. He's a good friend. We work together, and he just has such positive energy. I wish all of the reverends and ministers, were like him. We would be in a much better position.
That's a true thing, my brother. And you know what? And I'm going to go back on the record, brother, as we've been talking about indoor spaces. I do want to recall and remind you that Reverend Joe did offer his location. So I know we're doing what we're doing at Mama Ati at Ola's, but one day we might decide that we want to go grace that side of the town with our presence as well.
Absolutely, that would be a beautiful thing.
So what I want to do, sir, we had two things. We talk about the spirit of the drum, and it's always been important to me that people know that it's not only drum and dance and celebration, even though that is a core part of what we bring. I think we need to celebrate who we are as African people. But it's also now that purpose is coming into its formation and into its light, there are other purposes that are growing out and coming forward out of it. Talk a little bit about the formations. That's what I call them. The formations that are evolving out of the spirit of the drum as that formation itself kind of evolves into its purpose.
Yeah. So I think that there's a saying, Ishaka Musa Bar Shango used to say, man plans, but the creator is the best of planners. So sometimes when we're planning things, we don't understand that the universe has other things in store. We just can't see it, and so that meaning that, as we were formulating and putting the spirit of the drum gathering together, we thought that it was just going to be a gathering where we're just entertaining, just dancing and drumming and having a feel-good moment. And it is that, but that there were also other things that were going to evolve out of that, and, spirit, over these last couple of weeks, you would notice that there were times when I would be at the spirit of the drum, and I would say, you do kind of understand that this is going to be more than just us coming together and having a feel-good moment, because I could begin to feel that there were because there are a lot of people that are a part of the spirit of the drum that have a lot of talent. And, there's a parable in the Bible that talks about, I think it was the 3 sons, who received a coin and it talks about how when they received the coin and what they did with it, they were blessed with it, and how they were either able to invest it and produce more or whatever. And I'm using that to say that we are blessed because we have a lot of talent, and we will continue to be blessed as long as we use that talent.
Talents and gifts, yes.
Right, we have gifts, but we're not going to be blessed if we sit on those gifts. And I think that what happened today is that it was just a manifestation of being called to our purpose. And so Mama Atiola called me last night, and we had a conversation, and she kind of put forth what I would call a proclamation in terms of, something that needed to be added to the spirit of the drum regarding a lot of what's going on in our community. There's just a lot of negative energy. There's a lot of self-hatred, a lot of people, that are, there's a lot of death. Let's just be frank. In Philadelphia, you have over 400 murders.
But you know what, brother? We call forward that spirit, and this has really been the thing I've been pushing on. People have pushed back on me for a long time, which is why the spirit of the drum is so powerful. It's like this spirit of death, this spirit of trauma, this spirit of suffering, this spirit of we as black people being in the globe to sacrifice on everybody else's behalf. We've called that forward through the way that we do some of our religions, through the way that we do some of our coming together, man. Even sometimes the way we do our libation, we're not affirming our essence as the first people, as the people who are the stewards and the guardians of this earth, as a people of power and as a people of purpose. We see our blackness as not whiteness or anti-whiteness. We don't understand the essence, the essential power, the essential integrity, if you will, of being black. And I think that we have to change the spiritual essence, the spiritual innate beingness of black, and understanding how powerful and beautiful and essential it is. And when we change that spirit, then we will change these outcomes. But right now we're ushering in the very outcomes we're watching by how we embrace or not our sense of what it means to be a black and to be an African person.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think that asking the question, what is our superpower, I think that it kind of brings you into, or it speaks to your purpose, in which you are actually able to actualize yourself. I think, if you think about it, and I know that, it's hard not to you cannot consume TV, but sometimes we engage ourselves in mindless television. And if you think about it, all the heroes that we've been surrounded by for decades are all white. So what they've conditioned you to believe is that all white people have superpowers and black people don't. And so what we've been doing,
we sidekick, or we acquiesce, or we compromise, or we give Wakanda over to the United Nations. Like, we never get to be unequivocally black in our superpower.
Yeah, and so what ends up happening is that if you think about that conditioning, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, and all, if you think about that conditioning over years and years and years, you actually think of other people as having superpowers. I mean, of course, they'll throw you a bone every once in a while, and you'll get a Luke Cage, and, you'll get a Black Panther. But the overwhelming majority of individuals who are heroes in all of these shows are white. And what we're not understanding is subconsciously, they're basically letting you know that they are great and we're not great. And so I think that part of what has happened is that we have fallen out of love with ourselves and not really understanding, because we're not connected to our history, that not only are we great, but what they have done is they have plagiarized our history, and they've kind of turned it upside down. And they whitened our heroes and sheroes, because the people that we see are actually us, but they've just kind of plagiarized them. So I think that we have to retell the stories and the true stories so that we understand that we have power in our purpose, but we have to actualize it so that way we can see a different reality.
So, Brother White said, what I want to do, because the phone lines are piling up, I want to get to some people. But before I do, it's very important to me that you talk about the actual formations that are evolving out of the spirit of the drum, because I want people to understand. I had somebody say to me, today, I was talking to one of my young boys, a young brother actually that's going to be doing the OG Young G segment, and he knew about the spirit of the drum, but his first thing was, well, I'm not a drummer like that. I'm just a beginner. I've been wanting to come out, but I don't. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not. I don't consider myself a drummer. Number one, I play and I find a rhythm and I get in where I fit in. But there are people in this city that are master drummers, and and I bow, I acknowledge them. But that's not really what our space is about. And so talk about what the space is about. Talk about the committees that have come about, the formations that have come about as a result of the Spirit of the Drum, and then talk about where things landed today from the conversation with Mama Atiola, and where, you foresee that evolving into as it relates to the issue we talked about.
Yeah. So when we talk about the Spirit of the Drum, of course, the catalyst for what we do evolves from the drum. But everybody, obviously, who is not there, they're not drummers. There are people who have a love for the drum, and they want to be around the drum. They want to be around the rhythm because we are the heartbeat, And so I would say to anybody, if you have a love for a drum, it doesn't make it, And what I love about what we do, we don't focus on what your skill level is. We focus on what your love is for what we do.
Right.
So by all means, if you have an interest, come out, bring your drum. And what I also love about what we do is that, you might like to dance. You might have a tambourine. You may have a rattle or a shakeree or whatever. So you can just bring your instrument, and then guess what? You don't even have to bring an instrument. Bring yourself and bring your hands, and you can clap. If you got a heartbeat, that's a rhythm right there. Bring that.
You got hip-hop lyrics. You got a spoken word. You got a story. I mean, we got space for all of it, man.
We got space for all of that, and it has been happening. So now, again, one of the things that are starting to happen is that as we're coming together, we're seeing the gifts that a lot of people have in a circle. And so what's happening is work is basically emanating out of the Spirit of the Drum gathering. And so, my wife is the Minister of Health. And so one of the things that we know that in our community is that, we suffer greatly because we don't really pay attention to our health. So if you go to the Spirit of the Drum page, each week you're going to see information, about our health. My wife is going to be paying special attention to how we build our immune systems up, as we're, facing this pandemic with COVID. So those are the, that's happening. Mama Musu is basically going to be working with young female empowerment, and also going to be talking about, mutilation of the genitalia for a lot of our black sisters in Africa. So a lot of stuff, a lot of organizing is coming out. Now today, one of the things that and it's so funny, as you were saying, I started not to come, but there was probably something that kind of drew you because this was probably one of the most powerful moments of the Spirit of the Drum gathering that we've had since we started. Mm-hmm. And so what happened is that we had a roundtable discussion, where we spent part of that time talking about some of the concerns in our community, and then the other part of the time we started talking about solutions, and a lot of it basically revolved around, what is going on with our youth, and I think that we came to the conclusion is that what's going on with our youth is us, that they're present, but we're absent. And as long as we continue to be absent, not only are they going to be present, but they're going to be present. They're going to be present, but in a destructive manner. And that if we want to change that, then we cannot continue to keep throwing out these cliches like we say it takes a village to raise the children. Okay, well, if it takes a village to raise the children, then where's the village at?
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the village is not present. And one of the things that you said today, Brother Shamari, which is very powerful, and if you pay attention to children, when children want your attention, when you're ignoring them, you know what they do? They act out. And then as soon as you pay attention, even with my little daughter, if for whatever reason, if I'm not paying attention to her, she'll do something, and then all of a sudden she has daddy's attention. And so imagine when you get older, you're 15, 16, and 17, and you're in environments or households where individuals are not paying attention to you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something, and it's not necessarily going to be constructive to get your attention. And what's happening is that over and over and over again, our youth are acting out and doing things, saying, look at me, do you see me? And guess what? We don't see them.
Right.
We don't see them. We're just actually ignoring them, and what we're not understanding is that we are paying the ultimate price because we're losing so many of our young people as a result.
And the only thing I would add, my brother, is not just only children or young people. It's actually all people. All people's behavior and actions they expect a response. They expect to be noticed. They expect to be respected, recognized, rewarded sometimes, and noticed. And that's the job of the village. And if our young people are calling out, if our sisters are calling out, if our brothers are calling out, if our elders are calling out to be seen, to be noticed, to be appreciated, to be affirmed, to be recognized, and we don't do it, then someone has to come in, something has to come in to fill that void. And right now it's the police. Right now it's the white liberals. Right now it's everybody else except us. And until we begin to reciprocate and be reciprocal with our relationships one with another, man, the village is going to burn. And it's up to us to walk into our power. And this is that moment, man. And the spirit of the drum is a microcosm of the type of spaces we need to create all across this globe if there's going to be a black power resurrection.
Only thing I can say to that is Ashe.
So again, y'all, Sundays at 1 o'clock, and we're gonna have our Facebook page, but we also want to evolve some other multimedia presence, brother. I want to work with you on that and get a website, because there are people out there who might not be able to join us on Sundays from 1 to 4, but can join us on the work around health, the work around rites of passage, the work around. I love this thing, man. I want to build with Brother Kamua and others on this drum, the drum as both the healing call and the warrior call, and the rites of passage and the work that needs to go with that, man. There's so much coming out of this little family that we have developed, man. I'm just excited that you heeded the call of the ancestors, and then I'm excited for myself to say, look, how can I lean in and support this brother and support the village in what's coming together? And then everybody, man, it's just such a beautiful display of people bringing their gifts, their talents, their support, their money. I mean, whenever there's been a call to support one of the people in the village, we always respond. Mama Kay bringing her food, Mama Atiola with her place and making it. Man, it's just evolving in a way that, I don't know what you expected, brother, but this is definitely beyond my wildest expectations.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't expect that it was going to go to this level, but I'm glad that it did. But let me just say something very quickly, Brother Shamari, about the drum. There's a lot of drumming in Philadelphia, and I think that we are going to have to revisit the purpose of the drum and what it means, because we need to understand, when we look at it historically, it's really more than just entertainment. And for the longest, we have been using it simply for entertainment and feel-good purposes.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing. But then at the same time, it's a bad thing when your people are dying all around you, and that's the only purpose that we're using it for.
Right.
Philadelphia has a large drum culture, and I think that what we're going to have to do is, if we're really serious about the liberation of our people, then we have to take our expertise and our knowledge of the drum, and we got to take it to the next level. We have to expand it beyond just that circle of drummers. We have to take our passion for the drum and share it with the community, and again begin to kind of change this energy. And I think that the drum could very well be the vehicle for that change.
It's not could be, it is. And I want people to remember that they didn't ban the drum because we were singing and dancing. They banned the drum because we were communicating and calling each other to war and revolution. That's why they banned the drum. So this idea that you think that they banned the drum because we was dancing too much. No, they banned the drum because it was our call to warriorhood. It was our call to purpose. It was the way we communicated and signaled and messaged. And that is what we must bring back, the purpose behind the playing. And that's what I look forward to with the spirit of the drum. My brother, I thank you. As always, coming up on a commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to jump back to the phone lines. Brother Joe, Patrick, Mama, and Zinga coming your way, so stay tuned.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app. Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
Remember when Trump defended neo-Nazis?
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Or downplayed the coronavirus?
It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle.
It's time to fire politicians who failed us and elect leaders who will fight systemic racism, have a plan to beat the coronavirus, and will address bias in our healthcare system. This election, remember whose side Trump is on, not yours. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by the NAACP.
Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamari. And if you want to share your skill set, your talent, your gift, your mastery, what is your superpower? Hit us up right now. This is going to be your last segment to do it, because you know we got to close out with Pop knows something. He owns the final segment. So if you want to share your thoughts now, this is the time. 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. Jumping back to the phone lines. Let's go to Brother Joe. Greetings.
Good evening, Brother Shamari, and to wonderful producer, and Brother Wassett, who's on. Before I say anything, Brother Shamari, I want to say happy birthday to Reverend Joe. When Brother Fred Love called, he was talking about the S-79, the Greensboro Massacre. I was just from high school, Brother Shamari, that year. And, once again, the injustice system, this so-called white supremacy, white racism, you had a bunch of white Klansmen and Nazis killed innocent people. They killed black and white people, if I recall correctly. They were members of the Communist Party, and they gunned them down in cold blood. These people was unarmed and everything. And, of course, they did what the white boys always do, that little playbook. They said they fed for their lives. Now, they had weapons, right? They had guns and everything. These people, these communists, didn't have no weapons at all, but yet it was murder in cold blood. And none of them bastards was prosecuted and went to jail for it. Like they do, just like when they murder people out here, these police.
So, Brother Joe, what I want to do is I thank you and honor you for bringing us that clarity and that remembrance. And I want I want people to do their research, but I also want you to weigh in. What's your mastery, sir? What's your skill set?
Well,
I want us to start believing and knowing again that we can actually beat these mugs, man.
With you on that, Brother Shamari, because like I first met you, Brother Shamari, at Brother Rob's meeting, and Sister Mama Aisha called up to get the trip of the Brother Rob, and I'm like you, Brother Shamari. I get tired of taking L's. I believe, but like we believe in ourselves, like Brother Rock said, believe in ourselves, and stop that yoke of white supremacy, if you will, so-called, and believe in ourselves. Like I say, we can do things unequivocally black and be proud of it. It's not that we can.
So what's your gift? What's your contribution into that space? So what can we rely on you to bring? What power? When we look over to Brother Joe, we know Brother Joe bring it to the Avengers.
I'm going to bring to the table that true spirit, the warrior spirit. That's the best I can do, Brother. That warrior spirit, brother.
Appreciate you as always, Brother Joe.
Thank you, Brother Shamari. Peace and blessings.
Peace. Patrick, line 2, greetings.
Greetings, Brother Shamar. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
So, me personally, I am Caucasian, but I will say that the gifts that I bring forth are I'm a researcher, and I think that Black history, without the intertwining of Black history with history, you really have just a small portion of the story. And tomorrow, I heard Brother Spread Love talking about tomorrow's the 90th anniversary of the coronation of King Haile Selassie. I will be speaking at an event that is going on in London via Zoom. That is a celebration of the 90th coronation of King Haile Selassie, with his grandchildren also speaking. And I'm in direct contact, which is pretty interesting, with the Empress Makeda, who is his granddaughter.
Mm.
And King Haile Selassie, what people don't realize is he was the last emperor, Black emperor king in Africa, and he was also the first president of the African Union, which was formed in 1963, which was the union of all African nations, other than South Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Rhodesia, which were all still being colonized. And the African Union was formed as a large group to unify the nations and to boycott the nations that were still colonized.
So, Brother Patrick, real quick, what time is the event, Samar, that you were referencing?
The event is it starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And how do people weigh in if they want to weigh in on it? How do they hear about it?
Yeah, so you know what's interesting is as I'm looking through all the news, you try to type in Haile Selassie 90th anniversary, things like that. There's just no real news on it, which is just another way that they drown out the truth of Black history. They don't. When you do your Google search, you got to go five things deep. But I can tell you that I have the Zoom. What I'll do is I'll put it on the Facebook comments.
Okay.
The link,
cool.
I'll put the
That'd
link
be
to
good.
the Zoom meeting.
All right, Brother Patrick, appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mama Nzinga, line 4.
Yes, peace. First, I'm just going to say I'm sending out love and prayers to the Walter Wallace family and, in the communities of our people. I consider whatever I have to first come from my heart, and that is compassion for my people and the love for my people. I'm an educator of Black history, but I'm a creative, and I love to connect the generations together. I love talking with the young people and working with the young people. So, all ages, I enjoy that. But I just, so much is going on. I just want everybody to be very aware of their surroundings in these next couple of days. Just be very aware. And if you don't have to go out on the 3rd, don't go out, because the Hatfuls and the McCoys are going to be at it again.
All right.
So I'll put that out there like that. Is that good enough?
Appreciate your foresight. Thank you to add that to your gift. I understand Brother David Barnes is in the studio. Before I go to Brother David, though, I want to remind everybody, remind some and notify others that tomorrow is Black Solidarity Day. So at 4 o'clock, gather at City Hall right in front of the Octavius V. Cato statue. 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, they'll be celebrating Black Solidarity Day. Brothers and sisters from all aspects of our liberation struggle and freedom fight and nationalism and, Black self-help. Whatever your perspective is, it does not matter as long as you're about Blackness. As the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey would say, race first. So come on out Monday, November 2nd, 4 o'clock p.m., gather at City Hall, Octavius V. Cato statue from 4 to 7 p.m. to celebrate Black Solidarity Day. And in the spirit of Black Solidarity, I'm going to give a shout out to my brother David Barnes, whose show, New World View, follows immediately after Groundings with Brother Shamari. So, Brother David, if you're there, how are you?
I'm good in what part? I can't hear myself. I'm on like number 1. Wait a minute. We're trying to get. Oh, now I'm sorry to hear myself now. Peace and Black Power, Brother Shamari.
How you doing, sir? Peace and Black Power. Before you go in, I gotta hear your talent. You know, if you've been listening to the show, talent, superpower, core competence. What is it for you, sir?
I'm sorry, I wasn't. I apologize. I was not listening to the show.
Oh man. So now you got to answer. Now you got to answer.
What was the question? I'll answer it. I don't care if I was listening. What's the
yeah,
question?
I've been trying to do an inventory, man. We need some skills and some power and some abilities and some core capacity. So if you had to tell people what your core superpowers, like mine is vision. I think my foresight, my insight, and my hindsight, kind of in alignment with the eye of Heru, would be something I would claim as a power, as a key competency that I bring and gift into the village. So what is yours?
Well, I would say mine is patience and compassion, because some of these people is really getting on my nerves.
Okay. If they're getting on your nerves, then it sounds like you're not that compassionate, though.
But that's a talent that I'm exercising, though.
Okay. That's a tolerance, though. That's not a talent. So tell me again what your gift is, sir. Like when you look in the mirror, you're grown, you're older than me.
Right.
There's some things in your life, and when you look back over it, what is it that you say, this is my gift, this is what I do?
Well, I'm a visionary, actually. That is why I got into photography, because I'm able to see things differently. And then when I began communicating on the radio, I'm able to say things differently. That's why I have a new worldview, because I think that's what people ought to create, a new worldview, instead of continuing to believe those old-fashioned things. As a matter of fact, I wanted to say thank you for your Facebook post about the warlocks, wizards, and witches of the other side seem to be outdoing outside. And that's the one part that I don't understand. Where are our Orishas? Where's Obatala? Are they on vacation? Or is this just a test to see how we...
Yeah, they're not on vacation. It's the people who are supposed to call them forward and bring them forward. They're on vacation. Okay. They sheltered in place. When Trump told everybody, just like your reverend sheltered in place and some imam sheltered in place, well, so the Babalao and the Iya, the Hungans and the Mambos, they sheltered in place as well. Right. So we ain't going to blame the Orisha and the Loa. We're going to blame the people who are supposed to be, amongst the conduits of those forces on our behalf. They sided with the empire for a while. Hopefully they rubbing the sleep out their eyes and they hearing the call of the drum and they're going to come out of their dwellings. But you can't, how you going to be against the empire and then follow all the rules of the empire?
I never said I was against any of the Orisha.
No, I'm saying how our people, I'm calling for how are they going to be against the empire, but then follow the rules of the empire? It don't really make much sense, but hopefully
I believe that what happened is they have succumbed to the hypnosis.
There you go, sir. And that's that. So at some point, it's like, yo, did you really believe what you said you believed?
I believe what I say, and I say what I believe.
All right, but I'm asking them. See, you trying to put yourself in the way of a fight that ain't got nothing to do with you. Because you ain't professed to be one of them. You just asked the question. You like in the Bible, all you did is what Habakkuk would do. Ask the question. Right. But the question is not to the Orisha or to the Loa, to the people who say that they embody and represent and can call down those forces. Some of them have taken the vacation and sheltered in place because the empire said so. I'm not saying all of them have, because I know some who've been out there and battling and doing their thing. So I'm not going to argue. I'm not saying it's all of them. But I'm saying that their wizards and their witches and their conjurers have stepped into this moment and they're conjuring their butts off. Yes, and ours are not to be seen and found. They're winning this battle right now. We just got to call it what it is.
Yeah, they seem to be running away from them. They're running away from what will actually liberate them.
You just got me in trouble, I know, by that question, but, it's all good.
but anyhow, we have a very exciting program coming up tonight on New Worldview starting at 8 o'clock. We have Professor Carl Tone Jones will be in with his Independence Day Project program. Then at the 9 o'clock hour, we have Phil Washington calling in from Florida with his health management program. And back in the studio at 10 o'clock is Patrick and Jadu with our Afrobeat after party. So I'm excited.
Tell you too, man. You know why? Because I'm joining y'all back in studio next weekend, man. I'm just going to walk back into the studio. This doing this thing by Zoom. I like it and it serves a purpose, man, but I can't let this become my new normal. Yeah. So I got to break the routine and break the habit. So I'll see you next week, my brother. Looking forward.
It's always a pleasure. Peace. Peace and Black Power.
That is Brother David Barnes. His show, New World View, immediately follows us right here on Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamar. And you know what, I know some of y'all just heard the conversation he and I had, and y'all might feel some kind of way about it. I'm going to do a little bit more building off of that next Sunday's Grounding segment. I'm going to return to this conversation we were having about a month or so back about the witches and the warlocks and the wizards, and kind of the interplay on, whose side do you work your magic on? Are you on behalf of the empire, or are you working against the empire? That's the idea of order and anti-order. Really want you to begin to understand that, because you can't understand anything you really say you believe in, even Jesus the Christ, if you don't understand that he was considered a warlock in his time, that his magic, his spiritualism, his religion, if you will, was working against the empire, and that's why the empire had to work against him. He was bringing anti-order to the order to create a new order. They're working on establishing a new order, which is just for them a continuation of the old order. But our people are not working our magic against this order and to bring in our version of what a new order on our behalf, based on our sovereignty, should entail. Instead, many are sheltering in place. Can't be against the empire and follow the rules of the empire at the same time. That's what really all of your scriptural stories are about. What if Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't go into the fiery furnace? What if they abided by the emperor or the king or the Caesar? What if the belly of the beast and all of these other, the lion's den, all of these stories, this is what we're living right now. This ain't new. We ain't the only mothers that ever been in a lion's den or a belly of the beast or a fiery furnace. But you're supposed to have something called faith. You're supposed to have something called power. You're supposed to have something called purpose. You're supposed to have something called vision. You're supposed to have something called, whatever your spiritual power. These are the moments that those things are for. You can't put them in your pocket all of a sudden and act like it doesn't exist, and then want to call people to that thing, when in the moment that we needed that power, you forsook the thing that you told us to believe in. We'll build a little bit more on that, because I think that if we don't really deal with this issue, we won't be able to go back and redeem and reclaim and resurrect and empower our children, because they saw us take a knee. They saw us shelter in place. They saw us cower in place. So the minute now you try to demand something bigger of them, and they saw you take a knee, where do you go from there? That's the question we're going to have to begin to ask at a very existential level in the Black village. Come up on a commercial break. When we come back, pop. Know something. It's going to take us out. So stay tuned.
Solutions on Word. Hosted by Dwayne Royster and Amadi Braxton. Solutions on Word. Exploring solutions to national, state, and local issues through the lens of race and gender. Solutions on Word. Fridays, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Solutions is sponsored by Power Interfaith Movement, working towards life, liberty, and democracy for all.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
Jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Livelihood. The new initiative from WURD Radio to connect Philadelphians to resources to help take the next steps in their professional lives. WordWorks.com features career readiness tools, entrepreneurship resources, funding opportunities, and events to expand your livelihood. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head.
America needs a president who can handle the job. America needs Joe Biden. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it.
Paid for by Ask Me People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AskMePeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Groundings with Brother Shamari right now on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
And welcome back to the final segment of Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamari. Before we go hand it over to Pop, know something. Recently, if you get a chance, go back. And number one, shout out to Patrick. He uploaded information about how you register for the event tomorrow with regarding the coronation, the commemoration of the coronation of Haile Selassie. So check us out on WURD Radio. Go to our Facebook live stream. The Zoom information is there for you if you want to check it out. I encourage everybody again tomorrow, Black Solidarity Day from 4 to 7 p.m. right there in front of City Hall, the Octavius V. Cato statue. Go back. People think this conversation is out there, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm gonna have fun with this, probably all through November, because I'm intrigued by Pastor Jamal Bryant. There was an article about a month or two back where he rejected and then did a whole sermon. Two members of, or a member or somebody from his congregation gave him some sage as a gift, and people know sage, and sage is thought to, when you burn it, kind of cleanse the area of just bad energy and things of that nature. That's what sage is thought. And he took the sage, I believe, but then he began to read about sage, and then he renounced in a sermon later on about sage and warned people that Christians shouldn't burn sage and all this kind of stuff. And again, it's just interesting what we do and choose not to understand, because if you go back into the Bible, there were three, y'all call them now wise men. They sanitize and call it wise men, but actually they were magi. They were considered, men of the esoteric walk, men of the esoteric faith. Y'all could call them whatever y'all want to call them now. The names evolve, but they were believed to be spiritual magician magi men. They performed, spiritual work. Jesus was born into the Magi Brotherhood, so when they got word, they followed the star to welcome their fellow newborn Magi into the world, and they came bearing gifts, and some of those gifts were frankincense, myrrh. And shout out to Patrick for posting this and reminding me. I always wanted to talk about this. They were because the burning of sage and frankincense and myrrh and incense was actually part of the spiritual practice of the day. You had to be initiated and to even be able to burn certain oils and certain aromas, because it was considered part of the spiritual work. And so for this guy now in 2020 to make this idea that, oh God, somehow burning sage is pagan and I can't do it because I'm a Christian, it's like we don't even understand that thing we say we're supposed to understand. And that's why they're conjurers. That's why they're wizards. That's why they're witches. That's why they're mad, well, the order doesn't really have solid magi, so I'm going to just stop at wizards. That's why they're winning. Because the people who supposed to say they know what they know don't really know what they're talking about. So we got people in place right now, but they're not the proper stewards of the spiritual energy that we will need to overcome the reality that we currently face. Hey, we fight not against flesh and blood. I think sometimes you do. But you also are fighting against principalities and strongholds and spiritual powers and forces in high and low places, man. And you need people who are expert, who have a skill, who have a competence, who have a superpower in that space to do that. I always tell my friends, go back and watch the Avengers Endgame Infinity War series and ask yourself who the hero was. And because we black, we talk about the Black Panther, and some people will talk about Iron Man or whatever. The hero was Doctor Strange. He was the one who had the vision, the insight, the foresight, the hindsight to look into millions of scenarios and say, this is the way forward. And this is the only way we will win. Because you got to understand the power of that. And I'm not professing to be that. Not. I am saying the people who are professing to be that right now are not doing it well. They've cowered in place. They've sheltered in place. And we have to have a higher standard and a higher calling to what is one of the most sacred and powerful roles we need as a people. So with that being said, we'll explore a little bit more, but we want to close out today and give the final words to Pop. Know something. How you doing, sir?
That's in honor of my grandfather. He's an ancestor. Pop. Grow something. Something was heavy on his mind. He picked up his heart and he elevated himself. And he evolved. Transformed. And then a story might hit him. Because when he blew that harp, it took him to the motherland. You say, once upon a time, when the animals could talk, and animals and the brothers and the sisters lived together, he said panther and lion were making their rounds, guarding and making sure that the children and the families were safe. Panther and lion, as they walked, shouted out, "Save the children! Save the children!" if everything was good. But this day they were heavy, looking and observing and looking at the condition of our people. They were like, look at our people. The hunters have come in with their guns. They are shooting us like 61st and Locust, down in the streets. Everywhere you turn, there's nothing but gunfire and violence and chaos and sadness and grief and loss. Everywhere you turn, the bullet is king. Panther told this to Lion, and Lion said, yeah. He said, on the other side of it, the gentrifier is coming in. And the people that we have put in place to uplift us are giving it all away. And slowly but surely, we're losing the land that we raise our families on and our cubs on and our children on. We're losing that land slowly but surely. And they just shook their head and said, what can we do? We are the guardians of our village. We are the guardians of our city. And they thought, and they said, our ancestors, the wise ones, the owls, they left something for us. They said, we remember one owl had stated, and that owl's name was Kwame. Kwame Ture had said, we must have an undying love for our people. And Lion told us to Panther, we must have an undying love for each other and ourselves. And Panther looked at Lion, and Lion looked at the Panther, and the Lion told the Panther, he said, yes, and a blueprint was laid by another ancestor, a wise owl named Malcolm, who told of this time, but it wasn't like we pictured it. He said it's the ballot or the bullet. And Lion said, we are at that crossroad now. He said there are too many bullets that are killing us. We are using bullets to kill each other, and others, the hunters, are killing bullets, using those bullets to kill us also. He said, but now we are at the crossroads where it's the ballot. And they talked amongst each other, and they said, yeah, well, Jackal is there now in the leadership role. The Jackal is there. But Donkey is running against him. He said, this is the ballot or the bullet. And Lion told Panther, yes, but that wise owl, Malcolm, said that one, he gave us the key to success that is missing in our rush to the ballot. And he said, we must rush as a nation, one nation. And I say under the groove, but we must rush to that ballot box. We must stop the bullets and control the ballot as a nation. We must demand what we want as a nation. And they looked at each other, Panther and Lion, and they just shook their heads in agreement. And they walked forward, still continuing their security march into the future, saying that we shall see what the future may bring.
So close another segment of Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations with Brother Shamiri. Thank you, Pop Pop. Know something, Pop Pop. Grow something, Brother Nasheed Ali.
Anytime.
Check them out. Keep it with www.kotstreet.org. Closes out, Sister Ngakia. Let's hear some warrior rhythms.
Ancestors, please help make the people see. They won't listen to me. Ancestors, please help we. Where's my big new black baby? Please help make the people see.
This is a rhythm, a warrior's rhythm, victorious rhythm, a glorious rhythm. Yahoo, Yahoo, you hear it, you feel it, it's there in the spirit, it's there in the lyric, don't ever compare it. Yahoo, Yahoo, the beat of the cradle, defeating the label, the people are able to eat at the table now. Yahoo, divided by cheddar, we gotta get better, united together, we tighter than ever now. Yahoo, forgotten, forsaken, forever mistreated, debated, disputed, but never defeated. No hate, no more venom, we straight with the rhythm. We celebrate rhythm, we elevate rhythm, the beautiful rhythm, the powerful rhythm. We chant to the rhythm, we dance to the rhythm, the beautiful rhythm, the powerful rhythm. We chant to the rhythm, we dance to the rhythm.
This coronavirus has us all moving differently.
No doubt. Like washing our hands more and social distancing with the crew. I'm always telling people to give me 6 feet. We're here, Grandmom.
There's my babies. Good to see you got your mask on.
Wear a mask. Stop the spread. For more information, visit www.pa.gov/COVID.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just wanted enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour work day, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.